Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister, Great Britain, walking down the political G20 red carpet, coming in with a blue tie, a black suit, coming in to meet Prime Minister Modi. You know, you see him and you get this very warm feeling of someone who's, he's not really one of ours, but you get that feeling when you see him and Akshita walking around New Delhi.
You know, we've discussed
what a contrast between him. He's always cheerful. And between him and Erdogan.
That's the warmest Jappi we've seen. 3 taps on the back. Warm Jappi for Rishi Sunak.
And presumably he is possibly the youngest leader who's there in that room today, because he's 43. I don't know if anyone else is younger, but it's quite remarkable that at 43...
Probably Meloni.
Maybe Meloni, but
look at that. That's the longest conversation anyone's had. He's almost doing like a mini lat on the side there with Prime Minister Modi. They're still going on. He's wishing him all the best in walking out. Prime Minister Modi particularly happy to see him. Here's the longest serving Russian Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov. He's had this post since 2004. In 2020, he was reappointed as Foreign Minister. He's seen as President Putin. He just almost stripped Prime Minister Modi going forward. Russia, for the longest time, being a very close, dear friend of India.
And I think, again, the manner in which the Prime Ministers negotiated that delicate balance between Russia and Ukraine will be seen as a huge achievement, because you've retained India's sort of relationship of friendship with the Russians, but at the same time ensured that you've kept a certain distance.
And Prime Minister Modi understands the importance of Russia. I mean, despite the war between Ukraine and Russia and the position that Europe would want India to take, Prime Minister Modi understands that Russia has actually been India's most dependable partner for several decades, and therefore wanting to keep that association going. Far less reliable now as a supplier of defense weapons and systems, not being able to deliver on some of the past commitments. But that being said, Prime Minister Modi sees the importance of the ties between Russia and India and wanting to keep that going regardless of Western pressure, and being able to walk this fine balance as well, despite all the pressure.
Small disappointment that that Vladimir Putin hasn't come, or was that expected? Since he didn't go. But, you know, given India, what Rahul just said, given India's special relationship,
but there was no way he was coming. But this has nothing to do with India. But this has nothing to do with India.
But if there was one country he could have come to, was India.
No, but he'll have to meet Joe Biden over there. He'll have to meet the others.
I mean, if there was one country where you've got to do it, it's in India, given the special relationship between India.
But there's a war going on. I think that's like, you know, setting yourself up for failure, having a very high and unrealistic expectation and then saying, nahi hua. To expect President Putin to come in the middle of these...
I've told India was hopeful that if there was one country that, you know, that Putin would come to, it was here.
Rajdeep, I've handled Russia relations for a long time, and Putin really liked being here in India during annual summits. In fact, he made it a point to stay for 3 days. 1 day in Delhi, 2 days in Bangalore, Bombay or something. But this was not expected at all, especially after the South Africa miss. The second thing is, this is not the only time when Putin has been isolated. You remember the G20 summit in Australia? Obama made sure that he was snubbed by everyone. So he left.
Putin comes out stronger. Remember,
you are
even
absolutely
what we saw with Prigozhin. Prigozhin's gone. Putin's still here. He's now there's a big fight over who gets to run the Wagner group. Will it be one of the mercenaries who are with Prigozhin, or will it be his son? So that fight playing itself out in Russia. But Putin's very much there. So is the Russian state, and that continues. And therefore, Prime Minister Modi acknowledging and realizing fully the role of India's relationship with Russia, regardless of any European conception of what it really should be.
You know, that is why they say your sovereign interests are permanent. And Putin is one of the shrewdest leaders going around in the world today. Though coming back to the Australia summit, yes. Prime Minister Abe of Japan, he gave an interview just before his death, where he said the wisest leader I have seen is Putin, who single-handedly confronted all the others, including Obama, and had the better of them. So I think it will be a mistake.
But post-Ukraine, he remains this sort of enigmatic personality. His role will, how will history judge him? The jury is out on that, and the next few years will decide that. I mean, Will he be seen as someone who sort of isolated Russia in the world? Or will he be seen as someone who's taken Russia back into what Russia, what he would like to see Russia's due place in the world order? So he would have been interesting to have, purely in terms of body language, just there, the Biden possible interaction with Putin. We won't see any of that, but it would have been interesting.
Interesting but sad in a way, because you don't push any leader into a corner